We start this episode as Vlad was going after some sort of key in the ghost zone. He was fighting some sort of guardian, which he seemed to be beating until it smacked him with its tail, smacking him through his plasmius portal into the ghost zone. He was about to continue the fight, but his portal went off about the ectofiltrator, which actually exploded, destroying his house. This frustrated him since it would take far too long to rebuild that and his portal. Vlad decides that he will simply steal the Fenton portal instead, as we then cut to Danny walking down the hallway with his sister as some sort of alarm goes off saying ghost alert, with Jazz telling him to hide. He raised an eyebrow asking why, and she, making something up on the spot, said so that the ghost couldn't get him, though it sounded more like a confused question than an answer. Danny asked his friends what's going on, and they tell him that the school had started running ghost drills, which Danny gave them a funny look in response before hearing Lancer walking down the halls pretending to be a ghost. Walking over to Lancer, Danny's eyes had flashed green as he ripped off the mask, telling him that that's both insulting and stupid, before walking off, throwing the mask in the garbage. Lancer yells at Danny that he has detention for that, which he looked over his shoulder, said no, and then just kept walking. Cutting to after school, Lancer yells at Danny that he has detention, but he again just says no, and he doesn't, and kept walking. Tucker and Sam asked Danny if he was feeling alright, to which he looked at them confused for a moment, but then sighed, saying something's bothering him, but he doesn't know what or why. It just keeps nagging at him that the ghosts are involved. Going back home, Danny was cleaning up the lab, though he hadn't gotten to their ectofiltrator yet, and a news anchor came on saying that someone had put $1 million bounty on Danny Phantom, making him sigh, mumbling about not having enough problems. Then his parents yelled at him for missing detention, which he'd told them that if they give him detention for a stupid reason, he's not going, his eyes flashing green again. Sam asked if Danny was worried, since the best-known ghost hunters were there after him, which he'd laughed off since these guys were pretty much all idiot hacks. We then cut to Vlad watching as Jack also shows up to that little group of ghost hunters meeting too, then told the ghost vultures from way back earlier on to attack while he tore down and stole the Fenton portal. Jack tries to go after the vultures when they attacked, and the other ghost hunters laugh, though are quickly shut down by Danny telling them that at least his dad is brave enough to go after all the ghosts regardless of reward. Shouldn't they be doing the same if they were supposed to be ghost hunters? That shut them down quick, and the vultures grabbed Sam and Tucker, with Danny ducking away and changing into his ghost form before flying off after them, which set off all the ghost hunters' tracking equipment. Danny flies off after the birds, but was grabbed by someone and thrown onto a rooftop. Sitting up, he sees Plasmius telling them that he should have known he'd be the one behind that. Who else could put such a bounty on his head? Then tells Cujo to go save their friends while he deals with them. Barking, they changed into their attack dog form and charge after the birds, leaving Danny to fight Vlad on his own. Vlad jokingly pretends to be scared, mocking how Danny said that he'll deal with them, angering Danny as he flew up to strike Plasmius with his fists glowing. They put up a shield intending for Danny to crash into it, but instead he punched the shield, actually putting cracks in it. The elder half-ghost commenting that that was new, and that our hero was getting better, it would seem. Our hero then mocked Vlad for being bitter and alone as he went to strike them again, though was grabbed by the wrist as they began to zap them with pink-colored ecto-energy, asking if he really must defeat them with one arm behind their back. Reaching up, Danny grabbed Vlad by the wrist and did the same as he was doing, as the two energies countered and caused Danny to be sent towards the Nasty Burger, while Vlad was also blasted backwards, though in the opposite direction. Cujo managed to get Sam and Tucker to safety, and they all saw everyone pointing weapons at Danny, the ghost dog barking at them from behind, scaring the hell out of everyone and making them jump, as Danny told him, "Good boy," and the two phased down into the ground and disappeared. We later on cut to Danny continuing to clean up the lab, with his friends helping as he was talking to them about finding out why Plasmius was there. Jack walks downstairs with Danny sighing as he was still talking to his friends, with Cujo hiding like he was taught to do. His friends had said something about making Jack look like a fool, to which Danny said that his dad may be a goof up sometimes, saddening Jack to hear as he turned to go back upstairs, but then heard Danny continuing to talk, saying that his dad was no fool, and that he was a great inventor. Just look at the Fenton thermos, for example. He couldn't count the number of times that thing has come in handy. This helped Jack to feel better, hearing that Danny actually didn't think he was a loser, and he began to head upstairs with our hero turning to his friends, asking if there was some way that they could help, and Tucker suggests letting his dad catch him in ghost form. Danny agreeing, thinking it was a great idea, and changed into his ghost form before flying up to the table his dad was sitting at, telling him that he'd come to surrender. Jack asked him why he would do that, and Danny tells him that he surrenders to Jack because he cares more about protecting people than simply splattering ghosts and collecting the reward, like the other hunters that were at the Nasty Burger. His dad then gave them a funny look and captured him in the Fenton Ghost Weasel before going to find where exactly they were supposed to claim the reward, though Danny did still tell him to be careful. Plasmius appeared and put Jack in a cage made out of ecto-energy, calling them idiots for falling into their trap. And now that they were gone, he could steal their ghost portal, though while still inside the Weasel, our hero questions why he needed to steal it when they had a portal on their own. Jack questioned this, and Plasmius says that he has a portal, or had a portal. Seems he forgot to change the ecto-filtrator and so it exploded. Jack let Danny out of the Weasel, telling them to help save his family, to which they agreed, and phased Jack out of the cage and began flying them away towards Fenton Works, but they were attacked by the other ghost hunters. Our hero then telling his dad to go save the others, he could handle these idiots, and with a nod he ran off to do that. Danny whistled for Cujo, who appeared and barked as he was running over. The other hunters were about to attack them, but Danny then blasted a hole through all of their weapons at once, since they were all standing in a line pointing their weapons. Since they had no way to fight them, Danny leaned down to the tiger one of them had and said, "Boo," scaring it, making them go nuts, freaking out, and causing problems for everyone there, calling for Cujo to come on as they headed up towards Fenton Works. Danny sneaks down to the lab, where he was watching Jack fight Plasmius, and went straight to the portal to change the ecto-filtrator, looking around for the spare, which Jack handed him, and so he put it into the portal to keep it from exploding, with Jack blowing into one end of the filter, making it shoot ectoplasmic goo at Plasmius before opening the portal and throwing him through it. Cutting to Vlad in the ghost zone, he was annoyed about having been bested by that fat idiot, but then came across the key he was trying to steal earlier, telling Jack that even in victory he still failed after all.